What is up, YouTube? Third Impact here, back again to review something that is also back again, and that is of Space Dandy. Season 2, Episode 1, Episode 14. I'm not 100% sure if this is being considered the second run of the first season or if this is being considered its own season, but the bottom line is this show had an excellent 13-episode run a few months back, and it is now back for another 13 episodes. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you probably know I'm a big Space Dandy fan, and will be reviewing each of these episodes as they air, so please stay tuned. So the opening scene, very funny. It starts with the gang trying to have a cow identified as an alien by Scarlet. They're trying to convince her they finally found an alien, but after an entire season of these professional bounty hunters not once capturing an alien, the episode begins with Scarlet sitting them down and telling them to quit. Telling them they're horrible bounty hunters who have never caught a single alien, and gives them a magazine about how to start your new career in the galaxy. Essentially giving them a pamphlet that gives them a whole bunch of different minimum wage sort of jobs that don't really require any experience or anything like that. So just a hilarious way to open the episode, with Scarlet actually addressing the fact that they are the worst bounty hunters of all time, even though that is the running joke, and that they should seek a new career. So I feel like in my explanation of this episode, it's going to get a little strange and confusing, but that's also, I feel, kind of the point of the episode. So they're going through this pamphlet that Scarlet's given them. QT mentions that there's this truck driver position that doesn't require a degree, and Dandy sort of reminisces about how he feels like he might have been a truck driver in the past, but it's one of those things where, you know, he thought he was a surfer before, I thought he was a race car driver. We never really know with Dandy until he proves it with his actions, until we see something. But then QT notices this stray hair, and he starts pulling it, and he pulls it so much that it warps them to another dimension. Turns out it wasn't a regular hair, it was a cosmic string, or dimensional string. And this is very much like those cosmic or dimensional threads that we saw in the first episode, but where when those are pulled, they warp you through space to another area. These cosmic strings warp you to another dimension. And each time these hairs or strings are pulled, they're warped to another dimension with another Dandy, QT, and Meow that are all sort of strange in their own way. So the first ones that they're teleported to are of a 100% capture rate Dandy. He's the exact opposite of the Dandy that we know, who's 100% failure rate, and they kind of don't like each other too much. There's also a really funny part where this cool Dandy is like, oh yeah, I'm Dandy, D-A-N-D-Y, Dandy. And then Dandy's like, oh, I'm also Dandy, or R Dandy, D-N-A, It's like, we know that Dandy is an idiot, but I thought that he could spell his own name. Like, that was next level stupid on Dandy's part. He can't even spell his own name. But pretty much they're just running from these guys. Awesome Meow in like a mech suit is chasing them with all these crazy attacks. This is another thing to mention, especially during this part, and also this little Dragon Ball Michael Jackson Dandy that we meet. There's awesome action animation happening during these scenes that looked really great. But while they're running from this 100% capture rate Dandy, they pull another string, and they're transported to this truck driver Dandy's truck. And this is obviously the truck driver that Dandy was referencing when they were first looking through the pamphlet, and QT mentioned that there was a truck driver position. He felt like he had been a truck driver in the past, but maybe he was actually feeling this truck driver Dandy from across dimensions. So that's kind of cool. But this is a really weird one. Dandy's kind of goofy looking. QT's a weird robot. And Meow is like a cat girl, ecchi cat girl. There's even a scene with like stuff just on her face randomly. I guess it got spilled there when they got surprised and Dandy teleported. Very weird. But anyways, from there the strings pulled, and this is where we meet Michael Jackson, Dragon Ball Dandy, making Michael Jackson sounds, flying around on the Nimbus with Master Roshi's staff shooting lightning bolts, referencing JoJo, talking about how he has to gather the 8 guys with the star-shaped birthmark to defeat the Demon King, and Dragon Balls, all sorts of ridiculous stuff. And then from there, it's just a ridiculous amount of dandiness, just referencing like Naruto Dandy, Attack on Titan Dandy, 80s space opera Dandy, Gundam Wing Dandy, or Mobile Suit Gundam Dandy, I should say. And just craziness. And then this is where the episode gets strange, because they're going around meeting all these dandies, we're being shown all of these dandies, and then somehow all the dandies start meeting up in the same dimension on the Aloha Oi. And then they're chilling there, all the dandies, and then because of this, there starts being inconsistencies across the world. Like, jobs that have 7 days a week off, curry on rice with no curry, just weird things. And the narrator tries to chalk it up to all these dandies are here and been pulled from other dimensions, so now the world and universe are being messed up and there's inconsistencies. But then the narrator, like other narrators from other dimensions, start trying to like steal his thunder and explain other theories as to why this is happening. So pretty much they're like breaking the fourth wall with this, the narrators arguing with themselves from other dimensions, and also just pointing out how ridiculous this episode is and just how crazy the actual plot is. It makes no sense. But eventually, I guess the moral of the story is, we think Danny's a horrible alien hunter, we think that he's the worst once being put up and compared to all of these other really cool, spectacular dandies across all these different dimensions capturing aliens. But then they meet Depressed Dandy. Everybody makes a huge circle around Depressed Dandy, just sitting there in his chair. And Depressed Dandy wants to die. All he can really say is that I want to die. He doesn't want to be around or alive. And this is because his Meow is a really scary looking dude who just carries a helmet under his arm, that he never wears, and all he does is go meow, 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 and sucks in air and says that. And QT is an old college year who thinks he's a robot. So it's a guy in a robot suit walking around making sounds. Hilariously pathetic. Like, hilariously pathetic. And, like I said, moral of the story is, at least I'm not that guy. It's like, no matter, I mean, it's a weird way, you know, maybe not the best way of looking at things, but it's like, no matter how bad you think it is, there's always someone out there who has it worse. So that was really funny. And then, after the episode's over, the narrator says, and from now on, we will be following the adventures of our new star, Depressed Dandy. And we're given the intro that we're always given for Space Dandy, except with Depressed Dandy, QT, and Meow. Well, maybe QT and Meow didn't seem that depressed. They seemed pretty happy with themselves throughout the opening. So that was great. Just very happy Space Dandy's back. It's always something fun and exciting to watch. You never know what's going to happen. And this was just an awesome, colorful, fun episode. You could tell they just loved making all of these different dandies, all these different designs. Oh, and I forgot to mention Badass Dandy. There is a Badass Dandy with a pink shirt and a skull. And he's got, his QT are these two golden monkeys that like also transform into these skulls and like stow themselves away, and a Meow who's a Schrodinger's cat, like a Schrodingerian, where it's like every time he opens the box, he's alive or dead. So like that dandy was just the coolest, and even like Dandy's crew, I think, were like really impressed with how cool that guy was. Kind of random, but it was like, I don't know, maybe I'm pretty sure maybe specific animators, directors, storyboard guys designed each of those different dandy crews, because there was just such a variety in what they all looked like too. It was very imaginative, very fun. So I'm so happy that Space Dandy's back. Please stay tuned for more episodes. It was great, and the next one looks like a very serious, interesting episode as well. So definitely stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.